Rome apparently has a pickpocketing problem. How bad is it? Well, I'm here in Rome to get pickpocketed and find out. I mean, just look at these headlines. Panic in Rome as tourists mugged 100 times a day, warning to Brits. And a lot of sites are calling this a crime wave here in Rome. So I want to see how hard it is to actually get pickpocketed here. So I'm not going to actually bring my real wallet and my phone with me just in case, because I'm going to see how difficult it is to get pickpocketed. So we've got a couple of decoy wallets, a decoy phone, an AirTag, and a decoy bag as pickpocket bait. So I'm headed to Rome's most touristic sites and pickpocketing hotspots with cameraman and Rome local Leo, shadowing me as I make my way through the city to see how long it takes me to get pickpocketed. I'm going to begin normally, then progressively get more and more careless to see how long it takes to get a thief's attention. First stop, the Coliseum. Alright, so first what I'm going to do is what I would normally do if I were visiting a place like the Coliseum, which is very crowded. I'm going to take my wallet, which my normal wallet isn't nearly this big, but I would put this in my front pocket. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this in my front pocket. I'm going to walk as if I would be walking anywhere and be going to see what I want to see. I'm just going to kind of take things normally and see what happens. This is like pickpocketing paradise. If I were a pickpocketer, this is what I want to see. Just like huge masses of people. Nobody's paying attention to anything. Everybody's either looking at the Coliseum or their phone or their camera. And you do see a lot of police presence. I will say that there is a marked police car as well as some undercover cars. So you do feel safe, I guess, and I'm assuming there are not a lot of pickpockets working in this area right under the nose of the police. We're probably gonna have to go to another part where there's maybe less police coverage. So I've got my wallet in my front pocket, which I feel like is pretty secure. I'm just doing touristy things. I'm looking at the Coliseum, taking pictures, just kind of looking around. But this wallet is bigger than my usual wallet. So I feel like I would feel it. Somebody took this out because I can actually feel it on my thigh. I think it's a pretty secure location. A lot of tour groups here, a lot of crowds, but nothing's happening, so I guess that's pretty good. So I'm gonna just try to act more careless, right? So I'm just looking around, taking pictures, maybe like, maybe I'll get a nice picture of that. Isn't that pretty? You see there, all of these people here, like so many people, it's so crowded. One thing I did notice is that I'm bumping into people a lot. People are bumping into me, not because they're rude, it's just so crowded. And if there's one thing that you know about pickpocketing in general is that when you get bumped, that's a distraction often where someone can take something off of you. But here it's just normal bumps because it's crowded. But every time it happens to me, I'm noticing it and it's kind of setting off my alert.
As for now, nobody approached him nor got close to him.
So one thing that I'm noticing is that I kind of have my sort of my natural security sense, and I didn't realize it until now, but you see I'm kind of gravitating towards where there are not a lot of crowds. It's just my natural instinct. If I really want to attempt a pickpocketer, I gotta go into the crowd, but sort of my natural instinct is to stay in these open areas. So that's one thing that I think is helping me right now, and the thing that can help you as well is to kind of look for these openings. And like I said, the crowds come in waves, so there's going to be another crowd wave coming this way. You want to try to avoid those and kind of stay in these open areas. So one thing that I like to do is I like to check where my things are, just so I have a constant kind of check on them regularly. But the thing you want to do is kind of make it look like an accident. You're just kind of like a natural movement like this and you're walking around. You don't want to be like checking, like all the time, because what you're actually doing there is you're actually showing the pickpocket where your things are. But if you kind of make it look really natural, you're just kind of walking around like this occasionally, and it doesn't look too unnatural, and you can also then kind of get a check on your things. And if the worst thing does happen where somebody has taken your wallet, you'll know about it sooner if you're checking it regularly than waiting till the end of the day or until you go to a cafe and then many hours have passed, and chance of recovering something is going to be less likely then. So I'm going to try to increase the chance of me getting pickpocketed by doing progressively stupider things that you should not do. And number one of that list is to take your wallet and put it in your back pocket. You should never, ever do this. It is definitely the place that is much more likely to be pickpocketed. So I'm gonna do like, I'm trying to look for the front of the line to go into the Coliseum, and it feels really weird to have my wallet in my back pocket right now, but I'm just gonna go kind of into this crowd. And what's interesting too is that as I'm doing this, I'm noticing that I'm thinking more and more like a pickpocket. Like I'm kind of looking at people's bags and stuff. So I think this is kind of a good thing, but it seems like it's not that easy to get pickpocketed in the most pickpocketed place in Europe, apparently. Seems like I'm not having any luck getting pickpocketed after a morning of wandering around, being careless, and leaving my wallet very conspicuously in my back pocket. I decide this is a good time to regroup and get lunch when something strange did happen. That was super weird. I literally just came in here to get some lunch, just to grab a bite to eat, and I was gonna go wash my hands, and there was a guy like hanging around the door of this little cafe, which is right next to the Coliseum. And as I walk out, he follows me like step in step. It was kind of I'm not making this up, it was super weird. He just follows me, and I'm going right next door to go wash my hands, and he follows me into the restaurant, and the staff there stop him. And he acts like he's gonna buy something, but he's clearly not. Like he's gonna order something, and then he just walks out. But it was just one of those weird things. Of course, it happens when the cameras aren't rolling, but also it might have just been a coincidence, might have been just nothing. But it was really weird how I walked out of the door and he followed me step by step, and then walked with me into the restaurant next door. But he didn't know I was going to wash my hands, maybe. So, yeah, super weird. I haven't had any luck, or maybe I've had a lot of luck not finding pickpockets. And looking up the percentages, and we're looking at these headlines where it says 100 people are getting pickpocketed, which is 0.04% of all the people, which is actually a very, 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 very low percentage. So it shouldn't be surprising that nothing has happened, and I'm glad, right? But if I want to try to increase my chances, I'm gonna be a little bit more careless, probably as careless as I can possibly be, by taking the wallet and putting it in my back pocket and leaving it just half hanging out, and see if anybody finds that interesting.
His wallet is very visible. At the same time, nobody's approaching him directly. As we discussed before, another police car around Coliseum seems pretty safe.
Just visited some police and asked them about pickpockets. What did they say?
So yeah, I mean, there was a police car, one of the many around Coliseum, and since we were here and as for now nobody stole anything from us, I just asked them for some updates and percentages on how safe is the area, Coliseum in the specific, and they were saying they were confirming that Coliseum is pretty safe because there are several police cars and several undercover cops around the Coliseum walking around. They though specified that metro trains and more in general public transportations, that's where pickpocketing skyrocketed high.
The police warned us about metro stations, so guess where we're headed next? Yeah, now this is the place that if something's gonna happen, it'd probably be more likely here. We don't really have a good filming spot inside of the metro. Actually, we're pretty conspicuous now with the cameras and stuff. But just to give you an idea, this is the place where it's much more likely to happen. That's what the police said. So when you walk into the metros, when you get on a bus, make sure that you are being extra careful. In the metro, among all the hustle, there were plenty of opportunities to get pickpocketed, but again, no one approached me. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. The number of signs and police presence show that in the crowds here, like most anywhere, you have to be very aware of your surroundings. I think one good point is that, like, it takes time for a pickpocket to mark you. Like, when the actual event happens, when they grab your wallet or something, that's very quick. But they're usually watching you for a while. They're waiting for their moment, but they're watching you. I am 100% sure there was at least one pickpocket watching us this whole time. I don't know who, I didn't see anybody, but there had to have been, right?
Maybe the guy outside of the restaurant.
Yeah, it could have been the guy outside of the restaurant. We have cameras and my phone out, you know, like, but it takes time. So we spent most of the day here now, and nothing has happened, even as ridiculous as we've been. So I feel like I said, remember, statistics are on your side. It's just a small percentage of people. So nobody's pickpocketed me today, which is a good thing, right? You want to come to a city like Rome and enjoy it and not worry about safety and crime and pickpocketing. And hopefully this video shows you that it actually is more difficult than you might think, but there are a few things and a few lessons that you can take away from this video. So there are a few places that you should be more careful, like touristic sites, like crowded places, like when you're around the Coliseum. But like as the cops told us earlier, the metro, buses, transportation, those kind of places are much more likely to have you encounter a pickpocket, and that's where you should be a lot more careful. So a couple of things that you can do is, one, take your wallet, if you have a wallet, and put that in your front pocket. When you're on the metro or on the train, have your hand on your pockets, literally. Like, you don't have to look like you're terrorized, but just keep a hand there. That's gonna make it way more difficult for somebody to pickpocket you. And like I've said in other videos, pickpockets are looking for the easiest target. They're not looking to make their lives difficult. They don't wanna get caught. They wanna be successful. So they're gonna go for the easiest mark. And if you have a purse, keep it in your front, keep it zipped up, and keep your hand on that as well. If you have a backpack, turn that around on your front. And speaking about backpacks, this is something you should never do, which is leave your bag right here away from you. You should never do this, especially not on the train station or in the metro. This bag should be on your person with both straps, like this, and tight, so that you can feel it, so you can make sure that it's securely on there. When you go into more crowded places, when you go on the bus, when you go on the metro, you're gonna take this and you can turn it around on your front. I know it looks dorky, but it does help. You just have one strap, put your arm there. Now it is much more difficult to take this, and like I said, a pickpocket or a thief is gonna go for a much easier target. So another thing that I noticed is that a lot of people are doing guided tours here. So you see a tour guide with a flag and people are following them, which is all fine. But when you're on one of those tours, when you're with a guide, make sure that you are still aware of your surroundings. I feel like, and I noticed, a lot of people who are on those guided tours have their blinders on. They've kind of lost focus of things around them because they assume that because they're in a group, they're in a sort of familiar situation, maybe they're with friends and family, or that the guide is there watching things. But you really got to be in charge of your own stuff. You can't, defer that to the guide or defer that to your friends or family. Make sure that even if you're on a guided tour, if you're in a group, when they say, take a picture of this, and they're showing you this spot, don't rush to do everything. Just take a moment. You'll have plenty of time if you're on a tour to get the picture, to get the video, to do the things that you want to do. So make sure that you take your time. If you are going with friends and family, just kind of beware of each other's stuff. Just keep, more eyes are better, so just keep that in mind. Where you're going to be distracted, if you're going to be looking at your phone, maybe go, use that coffee break as a time to text messages, to check your messages, emails, whatever you want to do. Use those times, get away from the crowds, and then go on and carry on with your day. Thieves and pickpockets are looking for patterns. One of the reasons I think that, one, it takes time, but two, I think that I wasn't targeted is because I didn't fit the normal pattern. I was doing weird stuff. I was walking around in different sort of routes and things like that. They're looking for somebody who's totally distracted and who they're going to be able to use as an easy mark. So just make sure that you follow the advice of this video and you're not one of those people, and then have an amazing time here in Rome, because it's such an amazing city, a beautiful city with lots of great people, great sights, and great food. If you have any questions about pickpocketing in Rome or how to stay safe here, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll have new videos for you every week, and I'll see you in the next video.